Hello, Unravelers. Welcome back to Tiff Unraveled. If you're new here, then welcome. I'm Tiff. Today was the first day I have felt alive in this Brendan Banfield trial in since Juliana was on the stand and I was ears were perked. I was listening. Today was the first day that I awoke. Okay. And I didn't think it was going to happen. Okay. Because for the first 4.5 hours of the morning, guess who was on the stand? Harry Lindsky. Again, droning on about slide after slide after slide after slide. And it was, at this time, this person was doing this was being searched for. Listen, I don't know if John Carroll is not good at his job or just really good at his job. Because at some point during the morning, during that 4.5 hours of listening to Harry Lindsky drone on and on about slide by slide by slide, I was like, you know what? Is John Carroll doing this on purpose? Is he just trying to bore and confuse the jury into absolute compliance at this point? Like, are we just like, okay, sir, I agree with you if we can move on? Like, what is happening? More of the same after the same after the same. There were even prosecution objections like asked and answered, asked and answered. Like, judge, we've been through this. There was even a point during the direct questioning of defense's witness where Judge Penny was like, Mr. Carroll, it's this exhibit number, and we've been here 4 times already, in case you didn't know. Like, it was just more after the same and more after the same, more of the same. I I'm telling you, by lunchtime, I was like, you know what, guys, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. Is it this man's pure intention to just the jury into believing him? Like, at this point, we're just like, if you say so. And there was never an aha moment. I think we all had the same questions. The guy was like, oh, yeah. So while she was doing this, Brendan was here. And I'm like, cool. But we're not talking about where Juliana was at this time. Or he would say at this time, Juliana was here. Cool. Why are we not talking about Brendan? Like, these are co-conspirator, like co-defendants, right? Why are we not placing both of them somewhere when these activities were happening? That never happened. And if it did, it went past me. You know why? Because there were a million of them. And it was impossible to keep. And I know that if us as onlookers are literally just like numbed to absolutely everything that is going on, I know that jury is just like eyes glazed over, probably some drooping tongues, maybe a little bit of drooling happening. I can picture it. I can't see the jury, right, on the footage. I can picture it though. It's just a bunch of like comatose peers over there, like, huh? I feel like that's probably a very accurate description of what the jury was looking like through this entire thing. And so I won't get into specifics because you know the specifics. Same stuff. Geolocation, this here, that here, searching here, this here. We've all had the same questions though, right? Throughout all of this testimony, we've all been thinking the same things. I've seen it in comments on the live court footage. I've seen it in comments on like a lot of the creators that I follow here. Everyone's asking the same questions in regards to this guy, Harry Lindsky, 4 days at this point, off and on for a bit, but the last 2 days he's completely just been the focal point of the defense. And it's like, okay, but you're not answering. It's like you're saying a lot of stuff. Yeah. You're giving us a lot of data and a lot of information. But what are you saying? But there's still a lot of questions here and you're not answering them. Well, on my walk home from work. Now, I was a little bit behind. So this happened sometime in the afternoon. Mind you, it was after the lunch break, okay? I think. But at this point, I was like, Harry Lindsky might as well just start drawing a paycheck from the court. This is going to be his full-time job from now until I don't know when. He's going to be up here forever. Like I hope he brought blankets and like, snacks because he lives here at this point. But after the lunch break, at some point, droning on for a while, John Carroll said, no further questions, Your Honor. I actually, the gasp, I gasped on my walk home. I was like, no way. I was out loud. Like, no one was around me. I was like ice skating home in my tennis shoes. Cause yeah. Anyway, and I out loud made that sound. I never thought it would happen. I didn't think I would see it. Certainly not today. Now, let me tell you something. When prosecution presented its case, I wasn't super impressed. Now, they had Juliana, right? And even through all of defense's testimony, I was like, well, listen, it really does, because there was so little on the prosecution side other than Juliana's testimony. It really just at this point does come down to like, do you believe Juliana? Do you not? Like, that's really all they had. I didn't feel like there was a whole lot of good. I didn't feel like the prosecution presented its case other than the other than the co-defendant testimony, right? Digital forensics, physical, like I feel like my opinion, and still my opinion, was that we could have done more there, right? Hard, cold evidence that people are like, yes, this is what she said, but the defense has pretty much done that job for her, right? And I think maybe they were letting him. In fact, I'm sure they were, because let me tell you what happened. Jenna Sands stood up after the defense was finally finished with its direct questioning of Harry Lindsky. What I want to do is sum it up for you, but I'm not going to. You deserve it. You deserve it in full, because I woke up. I woke up and I felt this feeling of like, this is what I'm talking about, Jenna. Like, I was feeling that. I was feeling it. I want you to feel that too. Now, if you watched it, because again, I know based on the time I'm starting, I know when I'm going to finish and when this video is going to get up. So I'm sure a lot of you have already seen clips or seen the whole thing, followed the court today, or have heard other creators talk about it. I don't blame you. I couldn't wait. I was going to wait till tomorrow because I knew it was going to be late by the time this went up, but I couldn't wait. It's too much in me. It's bubbling up. I had to talk about it. But instead of summarizing what Jenna Sands did to 4 days of this man's testimony in about 20 minutes, we're going to watch it. If you don't want to watch it or you saw it already, skip through it, but we're going to watch it. Because I cannot summarize what she did. I can. Dismantled. But the way she did it, I was like, Jenna, there you are. Oh my God, girl, I can't believe I doubted you for a second. There she was. So let's do that. And again, if you saw it or you don't want to listen to it, skip through. If you are going to skip through, I will just tell you everything that Harry Lindsky said, blah, blah, blah. Jenna Sands asked the questions that we were all screaming at the screen for 4 days. And she asked him, and he was like, yeah, I can't really say. No, you're right. That's fair, right? Just all the questions you've been thinking, she asked him. There you go. So if you want to skip her cross, skip. But hang out with me till the end, because your boy Brendan also gets on the stand before the day is out. Yes, he does. So hang out with me till then. See, I'm just so excited. Finally, I feel like, yes, now we're getting somewhere, okay? All right. Hang tight. Cross-examination of this guy. Okay, here it comes. You guys ready? Okay, good. Me too. All right. I'm so happy to watch this again because, oh God, it's good. Anyway, all right, let's go. This is how defense should have done it in the first place, by the way. Just short, simple, give them the facts, move on. They didn't. Here's Jenna.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Hey, Harry. How are you? Are you good? You're good now? Good. 'Cause I'm about to fuck your world up. Just wait.
Well, thank you.
All right. So let's just go
all right.
chronologically. I think it's probably a bit clearer that way. We start back on January 9th, 2023, 11:10 p.m. The Gmail account is created on a Samsung device. Is that correct?
Mobile device, yes.
Okay. And a Samsung S21 is owned by both Christine and Brendan Banfield. Is that correct?
His government phone.
Okay. You told us that Juliana's phone is not in the house on that day, but Brendan Banfield's devices are both present, correct?
To my knowledge, they were, yes.
Okay. When we then move to January 17th, 2023, we have what I'm going to ask the court share as defenses 128 previously admitted. If I can have just a second to get into it.
Also, I don't know if I'm sure you guys did too, but just watch this dude's face. Look, I mean, already he's just like this. Okay, like you can already sense that he's just gonna be like, not happy with her line of questioning, and, like, some of the faces he makes throughout are just funny to me, so just, like, pay attention to his face when Jenna asks him questions. I find them slightly humorous. But anyway, moving on.
If that could be shared with the jury.
Yes.
This is the photograph that we know to be taken of Christine Banfield by herself at Lifetime Fitness. Were you able to establish, as our investigators did, that this was Lifetime Fitness?
Jenna. Petty queen. I love it. Were you able to establish, as our investigators did, that this photo was taken at Lifetime Fitness? Because it was. I hear you say that. It's just kind of funny. Anyway, all right. Moving on.
I saw that they had established it and I didn't see anything to.
Okay,
to
so, and this is taken at 7 p.m.-ish, correct?
This is actually the sending of the photo from Mrs. Banfield to Mr. Banfield. The prior slide was the taking of the photo at 7:20, but this is the photo that was taken.
Perfect, you're moving us right along. So
Great. Thanks for saying that. Moving along. She's too funny right now. Jenna, where were you when the Commonwealth was presenting its case? You were there. I feel like you were checked out. This is the Jenna we needed to see. Give us that snark, girl. Prove your case. It is your burden after all, right?
she sends the photo to her husband, who then comments, nice, right?
Yes, down at the bottom, in the middle.
Okay, so while she's at Lifetime Fitness, she takes this selfie, sends it to her husband via Facebook Messenger. He comments, nice. And then just before 10 o'clock, someone with access to cbanfieldrn@gmail.com logs onto a laptop in the Banfield home, accesses Facebook, and pulls this picture down. Is that correct?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
And then sends this picture using CBRN 920 to CBRN 920, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and then this picture is taken and added to the new FetLife account, correct?
it was manipulated in between.
Okay, so by manipulated, it was cropped, correct?
It was cropped.
Okay,
Because if Christine had taken this photo of herself and had downloaded it to Facebook, why would she need to then, and also sent it to her husband? And again, this is a question I know we were all screaming at the screens when it was being testified to. Sir, if Christine took the photo, why is she uploading it to Facebook, sending it to her husband, sending it to one email, sending it to another email, and then uploading? Like, why? If it's on her device or in her, like,
so the laptop in the house belonging to the Banfields joins FetLife, all while logged in as CBRN 920 at Gmail, right?
My understanding is the laptop was actually owned by Anova. And
Oh, I'm sorry, I meant the house owned by the Banfields. The laptop that we're examining
sir, shut up.
here is in the house owned by the Banfields, correct?
yes,
Okay, and that laptop searches for FetLife, correct?
yes,
And that laptop joins FetLife under the CBRN 920 at Gmail email, right?
it does.
Okay, and the laptop edits the Lifetime Fitness photo.
Yes, not all in order, but yes.
Okay, and meanwhile,
I just like pausing and looking at his contempt occasionally. Moving
this
on.
is going on the laptop. On the phone that we understand to belong to Christine Banfield, someone is using WhatsApp to talk about Valerie's day, right?
Yes,
And then by 10:45-ish, someone is Googling Lululemon, frozen tickets, and the story about the child who had their leg amputated, correct?
yes,
And then checks the C Banfield Gmail account at 11:30, correct?
I believe that's correct.
Okay, so you acknowledge we're talking about two different devices, right?
Well, he'll acknowledge that now that you pointed out. Yeah.
The laptop and the phone. Two different things happening.
Yes,
Okay.
In two separate parts of the house, possibly, maybe? Like Christine was upstairs doing her usual activity on the phone, sending texts, WhatsApps, searching for Lululemon and researching, news articles. And then the laptop was doing the sus stuff, maybe possibly by other people in another part of the house. Maybe? Is that what you're saying? Yes. That's what we've all been screaming at this defense for 4 days. Like, sir, what you're saying doesn't prove anything. It's done from two different devices. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you.
And you can't say who was in control of either device. All you can tell us is what the devices are doing. Correct?
correct.
Hold on, sorry. Can we just watch him again? Really quick.
Yes,
Okay. And you can't say who was in control of either device. All you can tell us is what the devices are doing. Correct?
correct.
Okay. And in fact,
Correct.
let's look at this. Apart from this usage on January 9th, 2023,
I love
the
this.
date of the initial creation of the CBRN email and the receiving of the Telegram two-factor authentication, I think, Christine Banfield's cell phone is never used to further this scheme, correct?
Which again, I was trying to keep up with throughout all of this droning on and on and on. I was waiting for him to say Christine's cell did blah, blah, blah on FetLife Telegram Signal or that CBN, the sus Gmail account, right? Never once. It never happened on her cell phone, right? And we were all screaming that, right? Like, I know we were all screaming, like, okay, when did her cell phone ever log into Telegram? When did her cell ever log into FetLife, right? I never heard. And again, it was like before Jenna got on the stand now and said this out loud, I was sure that I must have missed it because it was so much for 4 days to follow these timestamps, logins, locations, timestamps, locations, logins, timestamps, logins, laptop, cell phone. Like, it was like, this is why I love her. It was like, okay, it confirmed that, like, we weren't missing anything, right? It wasn't said. It was a whole bunch of shit that was never cohesive for both people involved in this alleged crime. It never put two people, like, and when they were both away, there was no activity at the home. Wouldn't she use that as an opportunity? Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself because we get there. I'm just so excited about the developments today. It's hard for me to contain myself, but we'll keep going.
That's inaccurate.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you tell us where?
Oh, I'm sorry. Where did you testify to that again? Because I didn't write that down.
Where Christine Banfield's cell phone was used to communicate on FetLife or Telegram?
It was used for FetLife on February 14th, 2023.
You had not testified to that before. I'm sorry. When was it used on
Jenna's like, this is news to me. Please continue.
February 14th?
Just after midnight.
The phone, Christine Banfield's cell phone.
The same model cell phone, yes.
The same model cell phone? Mm-hmm. Whose work phone was the same model cell phone as Christine's personal phone? Oh, Brendan? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. A Samsung S21 was used on FetLife on January 14th.
Correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
going back to,
He's just like, yeah, I mean, same thing, duh. All same thing. One, the other, same, right? Like it matters.
we have no other usage of FetLife or telegram with Christine's phone as this progresses beyond January 14th, when we have an unknown S21 using FetLife, correct?
February 14th, but correct.
Okay, sorry. All right, so
Yo,
when we
he's
then
so
look
mad.
to, let's say, our next event on January 23rd, you've told us that 1122, the CBRN at Gmail, CBRN 920 Gmail is logged into on the laptop, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and you gave us 6 exhibits to show that Brendan Banfield was not at home when the FetLife chat was initiated.
Brendan was not at home, according to the data, when the FetLife chats were initiated. But what was all of our questions during that testimony?
Some 7 minutes later, correct?
Correct.
Okay, but you have not told us where Juliana Perez Magales was, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Well, right. I mean, I may have left that part out, but is it relevant? Is it relevant? I don't know.
We see from the FetLife chat, I'm going to ask the court to share Defense 191. I've got 181.
191.
191, but Judge, I have 181 pulled up instead. We can just talk about it. In Defense Exhibit 191, one of the FetLife chats, we see the discussion between parties, and the Anastasia persona says, "How has been your experience so far?"
Another thing, and this is not a question that has gone unasked. I kept saying throughout this testimony that prosecution should have compared the vernacular used in the text. How does Christine Banfield usually talk when she's texting? Right? Because it's common for everyone. I know right now that if one of my friends was to text me, but it wasn't really one of my friends, like individually, I would know, like, does she use an apostrophe in what's? Girl, are you okay? Blink twice if you need help. There are ways that people speak, even, articulating verbally or in text. And so throughout this testimony, when they were showing text messages, I was just like, okay, why are we not talking about whether this is how Christine usually talks in her messages? Does she use all these emojis? Does she speak like this? Does she? And I think that's what Jenna Sands just did, was saying what she just said. How has been your experience? Instead of how has your experience been so far, right? Maybe inferring that, does that sound like something Christine would say or how she would say it? I don't think so, right? She doesn't come right out and say that, but that's what I got from her bringing that up just now.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay. On January 30th of
And she does that a couple times throughout her cross.
2023 at 10:47 p.m., the CBRN 920 at Gmail account logs in to FetLife again, correct?
It does, I
Okay,
believe.
and we went through 7 exhibits to show that Brendan Banfield was in Reston near the Lifetime Fitness at 10:52 p.m. But Juliana Perez Magales was at home, correct?
Sorry, I was just checking. I don't want to bore you guys, but I really wanted you guys to see this. So I was just a few more minutes of cross, okay, before we get to redirect, which I'm not going to show because it's, you guessed it, more of the
I
same.
believe she was.
Okay, and had been since she left Lifetime ahead of Brendan Banfield, correct?
I believe she also arrived ahead of him, but yes.
Okay, and in Defense 194, we looked at the FetLife chats and we see again the phrasing, I don't plan on having many people anyways. That was one of the checks that occurred while Juliana.
Oh, look at Brendan like, oh shit. Fuck, you think they know?
Was home and Brendan was at somewhere, correct?
It's a portion of the activity that occurred that evening.
Okay. Looking at an 02 p.m., CBRN logs into the laptop, FetLife, and we have 4 exhibits to show us that Brendan Banfield is at a Sunoco, correct?
I can't see them, but I believe that's
Okay,
accurate.
and we don't have any idea why he's hanging out at a Sunoco at 10 p.m., do we?
I assume getting gas, but I don't know. I was not there.
He's there for a bit, correct?
3 minutes.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
So looking then
fair.
at February 13th of 2023, 7:33 a.m., we have the CBRN login, again on the laptop, again to FetLife. And again, we have 7 exhibits to show that Brendan Banfield is not in the home, but we don't know anything about Juliana, but for the fact that she's at home, correct?
Yes, and the fact that
No, thank you.
That was the answer to my question. Thank you. On February
Moving
17th, same story. CBRN login on the laptop. He's not at the house. 6 exhibits to show us he's not at the house, but we got nothing on Juliana Perez Magalis. And we have a FetLife exchange that asks something about liking Nurse in the Scrub, correct?
Nurse in the Scrub.
again, not seeing it, but it sounds accurate.
Okay. February 19th, 2023. The laptop is looking for secure messaging apps. You brought
This might be my thumbnail for the video. I'm going to be on the other side of Brendan, like where he's looking, and I'm just going to be like, yeah. He's like, guys, oh, Mr. Carroll, what are we going to do? What are we going to do about this?
out the fact that the 2-factor authentication codes that are sent to the phone are not deleted. Is that correct?
Correct.
Guys, she's ruining everything.
Okay, but if you didn't call for help, right? Something to that effect. We all get
Essentially.
those all the time, right?
We do.
Okay,
I do.
I do.
I do.
All right.
We all do,
and
right?
When
Okay, good.
February 20th, 2023, at 10:58, we've got the laptop at home in use. And again, the location data suggests that both Juliana and Brendan are at Lifetime Fitness, right? Do you remember this one? This one's noteworthy because she's not on FetLife.
She's like, so remember the one you talked about where Juliana and Brendan were both out of the home? And he was just like, and she was like, oh, it's important because there was no activity when they were both out of the house. There was, so maybe you don't remember that because when they were both away, there was no, do you no? Okay. Jenna Sands came alive in this cross.
During this window when Juliana and Brendan are both absent from the home.
That might be. I'd have to look, but
Maybe I'd have to look.
I think there was a period of time. There's obviously a period of time before the activity occurs where
Okay.
I don't know where everybody is.
Right. Well, but we know that the adults are out of the house, but for Christine, presumably, and she's not using this opportunity to hook up.
Right? Wouldn't that be right? Okay. Do you guys know this brand? If you don't, and you like cabs, try it. It's pretty good. And so we're just finishing that. Anyway, I opened this 2 days ago. Don't come at me because it's only my second glass.
Right?
I guess that's fair.
Okay.
Okay, fair. Look at him, bro. He's just like, That little, like, half lip smile, you know, like, I think I nailed that. Okay.
But as soon as Juliana gets home, which we know because her iPhone connects to the home network at 11:06, by 11:08, we're logged on, talking on FetLife, right?
Possibly, I'd have to see the slides, but that sounds right.
I mean, you were quite sure of yourself, you know, for like 4 days. And now you're just like, I don't know, maybe. I'd have to look.
Okay, I'm just noting from your testimony. If it sounds incorrect, let me know, we can dig in, but to the best of your recollection, did you testify that 11:08 CBRN is logged on, and then from that point, we move forward to chats with FetLife?
It sounds accurate, yes.
Okay. At 11:58 that same night, Christine Banfield's phone sends a text message to Brendan Banfield, I think it's Facebook Messenger again, saying that she's going to bed, bring up the toilet paper, and Brendan responds, I'll be up in a couple, correct?
I remember that, yes.
Okay, and then we see that Christine's phone, again, the phone, continues to browse Sheen, nursing schools, and pens.
I had a big issue with this one when he talked about it. I was screaming about it. I'm so glad she brings this up. Listen.
Right?
Sounds familiar.
Okay. Meanwhile, literally 2 minutes later, Telegram is in use on the laptop. Correct?
Sounds accurate.
Right, so on the dot, midnight, that Telegram call takes place on the laptop. 2 minutes after her husband says, I'll be up in a couple.
Why would she do that? Why she texts her husband, says, hey, I'm going to bed. Bring some toilet paper when you come up. And he's like, I'll be right there, right? I'll be up in a couple was his message. And then 2 minutes later, the Telegram activity starts. Why would Christine be sitting in her bed knowing she just texted her husband? He said, I'll be right up, hon. I'll be up in a couple. Why would she use that as an opportunity to get online and start this activity? She wouldn't, right? She's hiding this, right? This is happening in secret. She'd be like, oh, my husband said he'll be up in 2 minutes. Perfect. Let me log in and do all of this stuff that he definitely would not approve of. Right? Like, why? It doesn't make sense. Well, it didn't to me. I'm not in everyone's head. I don't know how everyone thinks. But I'm sure most people would agree that when your husband says, I'll be right there, I'll be there in a couple minutes, presumably, right? Not hours. Nobody says I'll be there in a couple and they mean hours or days, right? I'll be there in a couple. She'd be like, perfect. Logging in to have an affair. Anyway. Again, thank you, Jenna.
Correct?
Sounds accurate, yes.
Okay. Moving to February 21st, this one didn't fall into your timeline, but did you see the...
Oh, I love this. Listen carefully, because defense skipped this part, and I didn't know this part until right now.
Google return, and let me just show you Commonwealth's 243, Judge, I would offer at this point in time. And if I can have that displayed to the witness and to counsel.
All right. Look at him, scrambling.
Mr. Lindsky, do you recognize this magnet report? I'm going to scroll down so you can see the processing details and then the extraction location, and then here we have.
I don't know if I need my glasses on or if I need my glasses off. I can't read it either way because it doesn't go with what we're trying to say.
The activity. Is this a magnet report from the Commonwealth's extractions of the devices?
This is not one I've seen before.
Okay. If I were to draw your attention to the device as a Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, which we understand to be Mr. Banfield's phone. Does that help you identify this document?
I believe that's the model phone he has, but this document looks like it was generated 2 days ago.
Correct. Because again, it's an extraction, it's a report from the previous extraction. Do you?
This was it's a screenshot or an image extracted from evidence that defense previously entered as evidence. Okay, so you saw it because it's yours.
Are you telling me you don't recognize the phone as the defendant's?
I believe that's the model phone he had, yes.
Okay. Do you need another minute to look at this?
I haven't really seen anything to.
How about that? Is that helpful?
Okay.
Okay. And we can see that we've got the extraction, we've got the dump data, and then we see that this is a search performed on Google by Mr. Banfield's phone on February 21st, 2023 at 11:35 a.m. searching delete your activity, Android, Google account help. Is that correct?
Two points I want to make here. Number one, prosecution. Why was this not in your case? Why is this the first time I'm hearing about this? Unless I missed it. And if I missed it, please, I'm not claiming to be 100% on that. If I missed it, because again, I do this while I'm working and some things kind of get past me. But I don't recall this. And I find it significant that Brendan Banfield was Google searching how to delete activity on Samsung devices. We didn't think to bring this up. And the other point is, so defense conveniently skipped over because she seems to be extracting this from defense exhibits, right? And defense just conveniently skipped over this part of the data extraction, right? Very, of course, but why wasn't this in prosecution's case? That's why I said I feel like in prosecution's presentation of their case, I feel like there were just so many marks that were missed that we could have touched on. But again, maybe prosecution was just sitting back and letting defense do the work for them at this point. Was that the point? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer and I don't know how legal brains work, right? I'm trying to learn. Every trial I watch, and I learn more and more, and I love that. And I hope to be able to expand on that as my channel grows, You guys can watch me learn and learn with me. I'm no expert by any means. But it's like, this feels significant. This feels like something prosecution could have presented in their case, right? To show, like, look, this guy was actually searching. I love Google. Like, he's always watching, right? I love Papa Google. Papa Google is like father, always watching his children, okay? And remembers everything. Why didn't we talk about this? I don't know. It's just something I'm like, okay, amazing. I'm glad you're bringing it up now, Jenna, in cross, but like, why didn't we talk about this in prosecution's presentation of their case? Anyway, I could be totally stupid again. I'm no expert. I don't know. But it just seems like something that would have been relevant or significant to mention during their presentation, right? Anyway, all right, moving on. Sorry, because this is already long. I know.
It is.
Okay, Your Honor, the Commonwealth would offer this in evidence as Commonwealth 243.
Any objection? Put your microphone on again.
I love this part. It made me laugh. You guys, I'll let you guys tell me why before I tell you why.
What's your legal objection?
Legal objection, it's hearsay. It's Detective Miller's report. It's a way of getting around their expert coming to testify.
All right.
Judge, it's an
This man just said his legal objection was hearsay because it came from Detective Brendan Miller's report, which defense referred to and entered on their own. This is their evidence. And your own witness said that he used Detective Brendan Miller's executive summary to corroborate his own findings. But now, because you're bringing up this Google search that we don't like, hearsay. Hearsay. Sir, this is your evidence and your witness. Anyway, amusing, to say the least.
Extraction and a magnet report based on the extraction, the same thing this gentleman's been testifying to as materials that he reviewed to perform his analysis.
Your shit, John
Sure.
Carroll. Your
I just
shit.
haven't seen-
All right, we go to the bench. Okay.
(2023). We've got at 9:25 p.m., this is the night before the murder, all of the devices are home, correct?
Can you say the time again, please? I'm sorry.
9:25 p.m., February 23rd, 2023, night before the murder. All of the devices are home.
I believe so, yes.
Okay, and from 9:25 to 9:40, the laptop is looking at Dominican resorts, correct?
I believe that's accurate, yes.
Okay, but for 2 minutes, 9:35 to 9:37, when someone hops on Telegram real quick, sends a message, and then pops back off, right?
That is accurate, the
Okay.
timing.
We don't see Telegram in use on the laptop again until 11 o'clock that night.
Correct?
The same time that we see Christine Banfield's phone pick up the search for Punta Cana resorts, correct?
It wasn't a search, it was a message with a link to a specific resort.
Okay, great. The phone gets busy planning this vacation, accurate?
Sure, yes.
Okay. You pointed out that there was a gap in the phone usage from 9:51 to 11 o'clock when it picks up with the resort, correct?
That was only with regard to either messaging or website visitation.
Okay. You can't say that Christine and Brendan weren't planning a family vacation. Can you?
Which again, I don't know if I was the only one. I'm sure I was not. I'm sure that's a stupid statement. I know that when he was talking about this, it was like a time I was like, okay, it's her lab. Like they could be planning this Punta Cana vacation like together. It's not like weird to think that they were like having this conversation, her and Brendan, like planning this vacation together, right? It's not like she was secluded, or that you can say she was secluded when these searches were being made. Like they could have been doing this together. It's a family thing to do, researching family vacations on a laptop that they have access to over dinner.
I can't say they weren't.
Correct. You don't know. They could have been sitting at the kitchen table planning a family vacation that night. You have no way of knowing, right?
I do not.
Okay. And we only have those 2 minutes of Telegram usage. You can't say that he didn't hop on the laptop really quick, check Telegram while she was in the bathroom, hopped off before she got back to their vacation planning. Can you?
I cannot.
Okay.
I mean, you
But
can't.
at
You
11
can't
p.m.,
say.
we know that the two devices diverge in what they're doing. The laptop moves into heavy, sustained Telegram usage with Joe Ryan, and the phone goes off to bed searching for vacations.
So Christine goes to bed, takes her phone with her, continues from the conversation that maybe she was having with her husband before about a family vacation to the Dominican Republic. Those searches are continuing on her phone, but the laptop that she possibly left downstairs now picks up all of this, sus activity in regards to why we're in court. It's not that hard to like come to those conclusions. We were all coming to those conclusions. Well, not saying that that is what happened, of course, but saying that what you're saying doesn't make those other things impossible. The things that we're saying now are possible. And you cannot exclude those things from being what happened. In all your convoluted fucking slide by slide timestamp testimony.
I didn't say, and I don't think I could say that the phone's necessarily separated physically. There's no evidence to suggest that they did or didn't.
There's no evidence to suggest that they did. Or didn't. I'm glad you threw that in there because of course, but there's, bro, at this point, you're looking like a paid expert.
Okay, but their usage certainly separates in
Activity.
tenor, if you will.
The laptop transitioned to Telegram and FetLife centric activity, and the phone, started with the vacation messaging, and then
And never went into FetLife or Telegram activity. Literally ever. Not before that and not after it either.
and just went into benign activity, minimal benign activity after that.
All right, Judge, I would ask the court to share Commonwealth 209 with the witness and counsel. Start at the top.
We're
Mr.
at the end,
Lindsky,
guys.
Does this one look familiar to you?
It does. It does and it doesn't, but
Sir, what do you mean? What kind of answer is that as an expert? Well, it, I mean, it does, but it doesn't. What? Does it or doesn't it? Weird. Again, you're starting to look like a paid expert and not like an unbiased expert. Because there's a lot of contention here. Does it or doesn't it?
it does.
Well, do you recognize this as a report from the extraction of Christine Banfield's cell phone?
I believe that's what it is. I thought the extraction from her cell phone had a different name, but otherwise it comports with that, yes.
And you were able to register from this document the activity of Christine Banfield's cell phone on the morning of the murder, is that correct?
Yes, I see that.
Judge Commonwealth would offer this as Commonwealth 209.
Any objection?
There you
Okay, 209.
Okay, and we can see from this document that at 6:46 a.m., Christine Banfield's phone is shut down, correct?
This would indicate
Oh, I have a major problem with this, but we'll get into it. Not with her cross, but like with this part of defense's like defense.
that a shutdown profile was initiated, yes.
And Judge, if I can cut and move to Commonwealth 207.
What is he writing? He's been writing his notebook is fuller than mine. What is he talking about? I want to know. What's on those notes? I wonder if they're just like drawings of John Carroll. Like, up at the podium, like in all his glory. He's probably got like glorious sunbeams around him. He's like sketched all like godly and muscular. Like Brandon's like, this man's gonna save my life. No? Yeah, you're right. Probably not.
Do you recognize this document?
I believe I've seen this, yes.
Okay. And this is just the deeper dive into what the phone did as it began its shutdown procedure. Is that correct?
Correct.
Commonwealth would offer this as 207.
Any objection?
No.
207.
So with Christine's phone powered off at 6:46 a.m., we then know that Mr. Banfield is, as you
You know what? I'll get in. Pull my earring off. God, my enthusiasm is disarming my jewelry. I'll get into it now. Here's my issue with the phone being off. Okay? Why? No, you know what? Never mind. We'll wait.
correctly stated, seen on surveillance video at the McDonald's at 7:29 a.m., correct?
I think from about 7:20 to 7:37, yes.
Okay, he's there a while, correct?
He leaves and returns.
Okay, and then he goes into the bathroom for 7 minutes, right?
I believe that's about accurate, yes.
And at 7:24, you've told us that Juliana's steps stop. She's just waiting in her car, correct?
I don't know where,
I forgot to mention that. Like in the beginning, he went through like, oh, Juliana steps, Juliana steps, Juliana steps. And literally everything he was saying, I was like, yeah, that corroborates what Juliana told us. So he was like, oh, her steps start at 6:36, right? Which is also just so happens when the FetLife or Telegram conversations ended, right? And then Juliana's steps start immediately after that. And then that like between this time and this time, Juliana's steps stopped, which was also the time that Juliana testified that she was in the car waiting for Joseph Ryan to arrive. So it's like when he was testifying to her like Apple Watch and like step activity on the phone, the whole time I was like, yeah, makes sense based on what Juliana told us. So, like, Juliana was telling the truth then? That's what we're saying? No? Oh, okay.
she was or what she was doing, but her step count stopped, and I believe that's consistent with what I, from interviews and other witness statements, yes, that comports.
Okay, but you didn't track her travel to someplace else, correct? You said you don't know that she's waiting in her car, but you know she didn't go anywhere else, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and at 7:37, you know from the call records that Mr. Banfield receives a phone call from Juliana, correct?
Correct.
Okay, he does not call 911, correct?
I don't believe he did.
Okay,
You don't. You know he didn't. You got everything, but maybe you missed the 911 call. You know he didn't.
and at 7:42, you told us that Juliana is moving again.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, so from approximately 7:25, 7:30, we have both Juliana and Mr. Banfield just not going anywhere, correct?
And out of the house, correct.
Okay. Couple of things I want to ask you about, not sure if you can answer, but did you notice that on January 13th and 14th, there was no activity on FetLife or on Telegram while Juliana and Mr. Banfield were out of state?
Another thing that I know we were all screaming while he was blabbering, right? Okay, why wasn't there any activity when her husband and the nanny were out of the house? Right? Which for a woman having an affair might be a prime time to be active on your extramarital activity websites. There was no activity. When Juliana and Brennan were both out of town, would have given Christine ample time to be active on FetLife and to be active on Signal and to be active on Telegram. There was no activity? Why is that? That seems like the perfect time to be nefarious and to conduct extramarital activities while your spouse and your nanny, where you're the only adult in the home. Why didn't she do that? Let's see what Mr. Lindsky says about that. Maybe he has an explanation. Let's give him a shot. Oh, that's his response. Fuck, this is harder than I thought it was gonna be.
I'm not sure I noticed all of those things put together, but I know there were periods.
But you're the expert. You didn't notice that. Oh, I didn't notice that while they were both away, there was no activity. That completely slipped past. Thanks for pointing that out. Actually, I didn't realize. Thanks, expert. Why are you here?
Of inactivity, yes.
Okay, and another such period of inactivity was January 31st to February 1st, when Brennan and Juliana were together in Winchester, Virginia.
Oh, again, out of town. No activity on FetLife or Telegram.
That I am more familiar with, yes.
Oh, yeah, that one I remember. That one I do remember. I couldn't explain it, but I do remember it. But it was just one time, right? Not all of that. I look at the big picture, and so like one time, it's nothing.
Okay. And just to be perfectly clear, we've been through a lot here, and we've made it very
Jenna, you've been through a lot. In a fraction of the time that the defense went through exactly the same thing. 20 minutes for you, 4 days for them. So don't stress it, girl. Don't apologize. You're doing good. Fantastic, actually.
clear, I think, that you can only testify to what the phones were doing. You cannot tell us who was manipulating the phones. You cannot tell us who made the phones do the things. You can only tell us what the phones were doing, what the laptop was doing, and where it was located when those acts occurred, correct?
That's one part of my analysis.
What's the other part, Harry?
Okay, thank you. I don't have anything further, Judge.
Redirect.
I'm not going to put you guys through redirect. We're done with court feed for the day, okay? I know there was about 8 hours of it, but we're only going through that however long that was, okay? I'm not going to put you guys through redirect because you'll never guess. John Carroll blew me out of the he did exactly the same thing he's been doing with Harry Lindsky for 4 days. He asked the same questions. He tried to make the same points. None of it holds water, especially after Jenna Sands got up there and was like, okay, but this and this, right? This and this, right? This and this, right? Can you do? Okay. John Carroll really, I promise you, if you want to go back and watch, please do. But I promise you, more of the same. Okay? Now, let's get in to the part we've all been waiting for. Brendan Banfield takes the stand. Let's talk about that. The moment we've all been waiting for, or at least the start of it. I'm going to be looking down because these notes are on paper as opposed to my computer. These I took while I was at home. Catching up on the trial, forgive me, but here we go. Brendan Banfield, yeah, I swear, gets on the stand. In my opinion, already lying. Finally. So he gets up there, John Carroll babying our baby boy Brendan. How did you guys meet? What kind of stuff did you guys like to do together? And he was like, we had friends. And we took vacations, even with our friends. Even though a letter that was presented from, or a letter, Gisela over at Grizzly True Crime, she found these like, well, she didn't find, but she gets goodies. I don't know how she does this so quickly after they're made available in court, but she was reading through Juliana's letters. We talk about a cruise, a vacation that Brennan and Christine took with their friends and how he had told Juliana that even while they were on that cruise, he was getting beaches from Christine's best friend on that cruise while her best friend was there on that cruise also with her husband. Anyway, but he was like, yeah, we took vacations together. We were just really social. We did a lot of outdoor stuff, And after he went through all that, John Carroll said, true to John Carroll form, he asked the same question again, just in a different way. It was just like, so together you like to do what before your daughter was born? Like literally the same question. And Brendan even was like, we went on like hikes and stuff too. We had dogs before we had a daughter and like we walked them. Um, he even kind of made that look. He was like, what else? What else? Did I forget a line? Anyway, so then John Carroll just starts asking more about Christine as a person, right? And what she did for a living and who she was, all of that. Brendan Banfield starts going through she was an ICU nurse. I've got an affinity for anyone in healthcare. Love you already, unless you're terrible, but most of us are not. And then here's something I didn't know. And I don't think this helped if people caught it. He's like, yes, she was an ICU nurse. She did private health care for like a family. She was also an sexual assault nurse. What? She was a nurse who specialized in the care of sexual assault victims? That's what you just said. But now you want me to believe that she wanted to be a victim of sexual assault in a role play? Like I guess I can't guarantee anything. But math ain't mathing. Just in that alone, and I didn't know that about Christine until Brennan said it. Maybe it had been said. I hadn't picked up on it. No way, bro. Now, I don't believe it at all. Personally, in my opinion, don't come for me. He starts going through, oh yeah, we also started this business together. So not only was she a nurse, but then we entered this tutoring business together. We were tutoring young children. We were helping the youth in our community. When we moved to Virginia from New York, she accepted, it was a promotion for her too, because she knew that she would be training new nurses at Inova. So she was also a mentor and she loved being a mentor. Brendan, just make us fall in love with Christine even more than we already are. Please keep going. She's a nurse. She took a special affinity to helping victims of sexual assault. She became a tutor for the youth in her community. She became a mentor for new nurses at her job here where I live in the Inova community. Say less. We love Christine already, but keep going. Give us more reason to find you more shitty for doing this to her. Please continue. And he does. He says, me and Christine, we were inseparable. We were inseparable from college through the movement from New York to Virginia for the promotion of our careers. We had dogs together and then we had a child together. Like we were inseparable. John Carroll says, okay, now tell me about when you invited your daughter into your lives. I think the whole court was like, what'd you say? Because I think even Brendan was like, invited. You mean like we had her? We had a child together? Invited your daughter into, okay. Anyway, John, at this point, I think at this point, we all are giving you a little bit more leeway than we should. I think at this point, it's like one of those people who show up for their first day at a new job and they're like really not great at it. And so from that moment forward, like you never really put too much into what they're saying because you're just like, "Oh, that's just her." You know what I mean? Don't leave it to me. Okay. I feel like that's what we're doing for John at this point. Anyone else? Anyway, yeah. Anyway, he was saying, yeah, when we had our daughter, it really brought both sides of the family much closer together because she was the first grandbaby on both sides. And then they start getting into like, okay, why did you need an au pair? Well, we needed an au pair just because of our schedules. Our work schedules were crazy. We really needed to have someone who was there every day to pick up the slack when, we were both at work, blah, blah, blah. And John Carroll interrupts us and is like, how's your relationship with your daughter now? And Brendan's like, we talk every day, almost every day on video. We talk. I'm really involved in her math and stuff. And every day we talk. Okay. Anyway, John Carroll says, like, well, okay. At any point, did you want to not continue your marriage with Christine? And he was like, no. I always wanted to continue my marriage. I never once thought of not continuing with my marriage. Okay. They go through like family photos and they end up going through so many that eventually prosecution is like, objection, relevance. Like we're okay, what does this photo have to enough of the family photos of him and Christine? We get it. Okay. Happy family, except not. Yeah. So anyway, they start talking about how they brought Juliana on board. They brought her on board for childcare in exchange for free room and board, educational opportunities, allowing her the opportunity to pursue an education. And he said, and to provide loving care. For who? For who, Brendan? We know she was providing loving care. Was that in her job description? Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so then John Carroll gets into like, okay, so now everybody knows you guys had an affair. Let's just address the elephant in the room. How did it start? Cringe. Brendan Manfield's like, we were in the kitchen one day, or I was in the kitchen one day, and Juliana started texting me photos of like her dating profile on Hinge and said that she was just so tired of dating and like, look, this is how it's going and blah, blah. And he was like, look, I don't like texting that much. Just come down to the kitchen. And so she did. And when she was in the kitchen, she was just like complaining about Hinge and, all these dating apps. She was like, look at this, Brendan. Every guy that I'm matching with, their names even start with B. And also, I mean, look. And he was like, yeah, basically me. Every guy you're matching with, basically the B man. Basically me. So what's up? That's not what he said, like verbatim, but that's what he said. Literally, he did say that, like, her dating profile and, like, the things that she would, matching with and blah, blah, like, basically describing me. Who would I be to deny her? Like, it's me. She's talking about me. Anyway, they both went upstairs. They were gonna go their separate ways, but then they didn't. Okay. Anyway, that's how the relationship started. And that over the next few days, it was established, like, don't worry, I'm not going to tell her. And Brendan said from then on out, Gianna found every opportunity to just like be with him. You know what I mean? Like if he had a business trip, she just showed up there, on her own, just so they could spend time together. And the shooting range, like the armory trip, he was going there anyway because he had qualifications coming up. Remember, he's a criminal investigations guy for the IRS. He had qualifications and stuff he had to maintain. And so he went there frequently to train and qualify, right? So he was going there anyway. And Juliana just showed up and was like, cool, let me show you some stuff, right? Totally unrelated, irrelevant. She just showed up there and we did our thing. Okay, cool. Then he gets into, this pissed me off. Well, Christine had affairs too. Like I was traveling for work a lot. She was traveling for work a lot. She had affairs too. Don't do that, Brendan. Okay? Doesn't matter. Because we're talking about your actual affair. That's your way of establishing that like this thing with Joseph Ryan was not something out of her character. Okay. I still don't like it. I don't like the victim blaming stuff. I just don't like it. He says that even amongst their affairs, throughout their marriage, they would go to therapy and they always decided to continue with the marriage. Brendan does go on to say that he does not think that Christine was ever aware of the affair between him and Juliana. It was always their affair, the times that they would get together was always just very dependent on the work schedules in the home, but that Juliana would find time with Christine and Brendan's daughter, like events with her, to like make that also time that she could spend with Brendan, right? John Carroll says, was there any plans made with Juliana about your future or about this thing? And Brendan's like, this is absurd. This is an absolutely absurd line of questioning. We were only seeing each other at this point for like 6 or 8 weeks. This is crazy. Absolutely not. There were no plans ever made. Okay. Brendan goes on to say that he didn't even know about the FetLife or Telegram accounts until after Juliana was arrested. He didn't even know that those things existed. John Carroll goes into, and I don't know if this is why, but I do think this is maybe what he was trying to say I don't know why he didn't come out and say it. But so he was like, so the 2 weekends that they were out of town, the 13th and 14th of January, 2023, and the 31st of January through the 1st of February, right? Juliana and Brendan were both out of town, right? I got my brain's mixed up, but I think that's right. And John Carroll was like, so on those weekends, like when no activity was happening, he didn't say that, right? But those are the 2 weekends that Jenna Sands pointed out on cross-examination of Harry Lindsky that there was no activity. And he was like, who was there? And Brendan was like, well, my mother-in-law or my, whatever. And I was reading a lot of comments and stuff that I was like, that makes sense. Good point. Is he trying to say that the reason Christine was not active on FetLife or Telegram is because in-laws were there? But does that make sense? Really? Like, if you have the privacy of your own bedroom who cares is there? You didn't even care. Supposedly, they're trying to get us to believe that she didn't care that her husband was in the home. Why would she care that her in-laws were in the home? Like, I don't think that would affect her not being active on FetLife and Telegram if it was truly Christine. Does that make sense? It probably doesn't. I'm really tired. So another thing that I noticed about Brendan Banfield on the stand so far, and he wasn't on long, he said, where is it here? Hold on. Where is it? I skipped it by accident earlier in his testimony, like at the very beginning, when he was talking about his daughter, right? He said she loved Christine so much. Christine was like her everything. Like when Christine would come home from work, it was mom, 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 mommy, mommy, mommy. He said that this was a very tragic separation from Christine for their daughter. I knocked my whole mic down with that. A tragic separation, Brendan. Why are you not saying your wife was murdered? And why don't you say that? I mean, throughout the entire rest of the afternoon when you're on the stand, you say things other than like you dance around that wording. And if I was the loved one of someone who was murdered and I was on the stand, whether as a witness or as a defendant or whatever, and my person was murdered and taken from me, I'm saying it because that is an injustice. And that is something that down to your core, you fight for until it's right, until there is justice, and you say it and you say their name and you say it over and over and over, and he won't say it at all. A tragic separation from your daughter. Your daughter was tragically separated from her mother. No, Brendan, your daughter's mother was taken. I have to remember that I'm monetized now, and I just said the M word like 4 times. I'm trying to edit it out, but I know YouTube hates those words. But you know what? Sometimes I don't even care. I don't even care because it's the truth. No one who's fighting for their loved one dances around that. You say it. They were taken. They were taken. They were taken. They were taken. You don't say, my daughter was tragically separated. I mean, and the reason I went back to that is because I got to the point in the testimony where, like, he said, there was a point where they were talking about those weekends, and then about the day that everything happened. Brennan said something that just caught me again. He said, well, yeah, the 23rd was my birthday and we were going to go to New York. And the 24th was the day that, and John Carroll like conveniently kind of caught it. Like he didn't say the day that Christine was taken from me and my daughter. Like he didn't say that. I don't know. Weird. Proof of anything? No. Weird. So John Carroll finally starts to get into the day that it happened. Look, I started going to work early because I was up for a promotion. I was getting ready to go into like this undercover thing. I had a meeting that day. I needed to get there early so that I could be prepared. That's why I got up early. But when I was awake, Christine was awake and sitting in the bed on her laptop and cell phone. She was up and she was on those devices, was she? So then how did her phone get downstairs to the drawer? And this is where I said this during Tesso. I kept putting it off because I was like, no, you know what? Just wait. So Brennan was saying, she always had her cell phone. She always had her cell phone. She always had her cell phone. Like always, always, always. If you woke up and Christine was on her cell phone, right? Also the laptop, he says. But if she was on her cell phone, why would her cell phone end up off and downstairs in a kitchen drawer? If she knew she was about to have this potentially dangerous encounter with a stranger she had never met, I'm sure there was nerves, even people who do this consensually, right? Which there are people, I know this exists and there's nothing wrong. Consensual, activities, consensual fantasy, role playing, it's consensual. It's fine. I know these things happen, but would you go into those things with a complete stranger by turning your phone off and putting it an entire floor underneath of you, like an entire level of your house beneath you, just in case? Would she do that? I just have a really hard time believing that anyone who was about to invite a stranger into their house, regardless of whether there was this consensual thing taking place, you don't know who's coming in. Would you really turn your phone off, walk downstairs and put it in a kitchen drawer? The whole off phone thing in the kitchen drawer makes no sense. There's no explaining that to me as far as it being done by Christine. I don't buy it. I don't care who you are, especially walking into a potentially dangerous situation. Even though consensual, you don't know this other person. You're going to keep your phone next to you in case you got to dial 911 because this person is not doing the things that you consented to. There's always that chance. And anybody is going to be aware that there's a chance of that happening and they're going to keep their phone handy in case it does. Know what I mean? Anyway, Brennan's like, yeah, I woke up that morning. I saw Juliana. She was downstairs. I don't know what she was doing, but I was getting ready. Christine was upstairs on her laptop and cell phone. I was getting ready. I grabbed my gun. I grabbed my magazines. I grabbed my badge, right? All the things they took off of him when he was in the ambulance. Just like, and I went on my way. I don't usually go to McDonald's, but sometimes I go to McDonald's, but I do stop for breakfast occasionally. But that morning I wanted to go to McDonald's. But I went to McDonald's and then kind of looped around because when I went the first time, my app wasn't working and I really wanted to use my rewards. And so I left. But then I came back when the barcode generated and I got in the line. And then I parked the car and I ate a cookie. That's why I was sitting in the car so long before I got my food. Because I didn't want to wait for my food. I wanted that cookie. That cookie was looking really good. And then I went inside and I used the bathroom. I really had to go to the bathroom. And that's when I got the call from Juliana. Yeah, okay. And he says when he got the call from Juliana, did he dial 911? No, he didn't. He said, don't do anything, Juliana. Let me just call Christine. So he says, then I tried to call Christine. I didn't get an answer. So I called Juliana back and I said, I'm on my way. Don't do anything. I'm coming. So that's basically how he explained that morning. And before the day ended, before the afternoon ended, John Carroll said, did you plan any of this with Juliana? And he said, no. And John said, did you touch any of Christine's devices? And Brennan said, no. And that's it. Now we wait for tomorrow. You know what I can't wait for? Cross-examination of Brennan Banfield. Although I gotta tell you, if we know John Carroll, and I feel like at this point we know some John Carroll. If we know John Carroll, Brennan Banfield will be on the stand until 2027 January. That's my prediction. But we'll see how it goes. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you for hanging out with me. Even if you skipped through the cross-examination of Harry Lindsky, this was still a long video. And so if you're here with me and you put up with my ranting throughout, I love you. I couldn't wait. And I know it's late and most of you guys won't watch this until the next day. And you'll have already heard all of this same stuff, I'm sure, from a million other people. But if you're watching with me anyway, and you're listening to me say it anyway, this is why I love you. This is why this means so much to me. I can't wait. I can't wait for Jenna Sands to get a hold of Brennan Banfield. We're going to see it. We're going to see it together. We'll talk about it together. I don't know if I'll update tomorrow, but again, it depends. Today, I didn't plan on doing this. That's why it's up so late. I did not plan on this, but I just couldn't hold it in. That may happen again tomorrow. This is the first day this trial has felt like, oh, there is a pulse here. We're okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we're making some points. It was thrilling, respective to the last 2 weeks. Thrilling. Let me stop. You guys go to bed, or if it's daytime when you're watching this, you got a million things to do. Go do those things. Be productive, be amazing, be beautiful. I love you guys so much. And until I see you guys again, please stay safe. Keep asking questions and keep unraveling. Love you.